Hey friends, it's time to film another knitting podcast, so let's rock, let's roll. All right, here we are, another knitting podcast episode. It's going to probably be a little bit more of like a quick and casual one today. I do have a lot of updates from my previous knitting podcast where I was just, I think, working on the Lakes Cardigan. I have since then developed a nasty case of the cast-on-itis. So I have more than just my fiance's Lakes Cardigan finished. And then I have a couple things on the needles as well. So let's go ahead and dive on in and get started with my finished objects. So first and foremost, and also just as a note, I keep all of my things for my podcasts and when I'm filming sit-down videos in this little corner of the couch, which is usually where I rot, and it's absolute chaos. So you're not gonna see that, but if you see me like digging around, it's to find what I'm looking for in my pile of chaos. That's usually actually where I'm sitting right now to film. I'm a little bit of a goblin. So, fun facts about me. Okay, now let's actually talk about finished objects. First and foremost, this was a works in progress in my previous episode, but it is my fiance's Lakes Cardigan. I am wearing my Lakes Cardigan. This is his Lakes Cardigan. So, it knit up really quickly. What's interesting actually is this, so his cardigan fits a little bit, actually pretty significantly more, it's more fitted than this one is. I used pretty much all the gauge was the same, the needle size was the same, everything was the same, but for some reason this yarn just behaved slightly differently. It's also softer than mine. But I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of also wear this cardigan because it's his cardigan, but it's also my cardigan. That's what a marriage is for. What's mine is his and what's his is mine, right? Okay, so it's not too much to say. I knit this in the, let me actually pull up the Ravelry so I have some fun little notes for you guys. So his Lakes Cardigan, I knit it in the Blue Sky Fibers Woolstock Worsted in the colorway Wild Time, and I held it with the Pasquale Alpaca Lace. I don't remember what color that was, but it was like the perfect green match to this. And it's just such a beautiful green with some blue. Oh, ignore that weird, don't look at that. Don't look at that pickup. Don't look at that pickup, okay? Don't judge me, please. I promise. I'm good. It's like this gorgeous, like green blue, very like variegated yarn, super soft, super beautiful. So I knit the size 5, like I said, identical in like all ways to my Lakes Cardigan, just fits a little bit better. Oh, what I did actually though is, because he doesn't like how low the neckline, I think I talked about this in my last podcast, he doesn't like how low the neckline on this cardigan fits. So what I did is I added an extra short row repeat at the top, in the top increases here. So there's one extra short row repeat to increase the back neckline height. And then I added one extra short row increase in the bottom of the sweater as well, because of what I didn't like about this version that I'm wearing is that it like sat high in the back when it was open. So I think that kind of fixed all the problems that I wasn't liking about the fit of this one, that he didn't like about the fit of this one. And then obviously the sleeves were a little bit longer on his than mine. He has longer arms than I do, so they hit in a good spot on me on this one. The sleeves on this one are like probably to here on me. So For the pattern, I started it on April 13th and I finished it on April 26th. I love it. That's all I gotta say. Oh, and the buttons. I used the Holland Hoof Farm Store ceramic quilt star buttons, I think is what they are. And they look so good with this knit. I'm very happy about it. So, super fun. It was a great project. I liked it. I'm a big fan of cardigans. I wear them a lot in my everyday life. And I'm glad that I finally made my fiance a sweater that he can wear. Woohoo, yay for me. All right, so that was my first finished object. And then my next two finished objects are items you have not seen on the channel yet. The first one is a singular sock. Just a basic sock. It's actually my first time knitting a sock, if I'm being honest. I started one probably like a year ago and I never finished it. So I was like, let's do this. So I knit this one. It's not perfect. It is my first sock, so I would not expect it to be perfect, but I love it. I used the Sorella yarn nylon sock in the colorway Oxford and Notting Hill. Okay, so I'm pretty sure this colorway is Notting Hill and then this is Oxford. The contrast is Oxford. I got it as a sock set from her Summer in London collection. Love it. Super cool. Oh, I can change my prop dress for the sock pair to 50%. I haven't cast on the second one yet, but I will eventually. I kind of just wanted to see that I could do it. I followed the Summer Lee I'm So Basic socks pattern, but I did it on shorties and not magic loop. I don't like magic loop. If I'm doing something and I can't use like a shorty, like a 9-inch circular, I would prefer to use DPNs, but I used a 9-inch circular until I got to the toe and I had to switch to DPNs and I think it worked out pretty well. So, super happy about that. Like I said, it's not 100% perfect. Like the pickup here, you can see there's like a bit of a weird hole, in that spot. And I was kind of still like some of the increases and the decreases and stuff are a little wonky, but it's good. I like it. I'm really happy with it. And I cast it on actually going to the Florence and the Machine concert because I didn't have something that I could like bring with me to a concert and sit and knit. I obviously didn't knit while Florence was performing, but when I waited in line for merch or when I waited, for her to come on, like once we got to our seats, it was the perfect little thing for me. So super excited about this, and it's great because I have many, many more sock plans for the future through October of this year, which I will talk a little bit about in my acquisitions. So that's just, basic sock. Really excited, really happy about that, and hopefully I'll finish the second one so I'll have a complete sock set soon. And then the other cast on you have not seen but has been completed is my Vera top. So I talk about this in my summer knits I would actually wear in Florida video, and then the follow-up to that, which is not going to have been posted by the time this podcast goes out, because I'm going to put this podcast out before I post that video, but which is shopping my stash for summer projects. So, but this is the Vera top. I was going to wear it and then I was like, I just didn't feel like it. I really just didn't want to. So I'm not, but it is super cute. It's a fantastic little tiny tank top. Okay, let me give you a little bit more details. So it's the Vera top by Witra Designs. And it was I knit it in the Sorella cotton linen wool in the colorway Cool Summer. And I used pretty much the entire thing. It's a one skein project for me. I knit the size extra large because my gauge was just a little bit smaller. Truly, I probably could have done the large. It does fit a little loose, but I'm not mad about it. I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks good still. I started it on May 17th and I finished it May 23rd. So it took me about like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. It took me like a week, like 8 days to knit. It's a very, very quick, easy, simple project. And I think it looks so good. The details are fantastic. So it's a bottom up construction. So I don't love bottom up, but it makes sense for something like a tiny little tank top. And it is obviously these little straps, and it sits, I'll insert some B-roll footage of me wearing it, but it sits like high necked, little triangle at the top, and then it goes into 2 straps, as I like. It's bra friendly in the sense that you can wear a strapless bra with it, which who love it. So you start bottom up with the ribbing, and then you knit in the round. You then knit about 2 centimeters of ribbing on the back, and during that, in the pattern, she notes you can either switch out your needle every time you get to the stitch marker that shows where you're doing the ribbing and then continuing stockinette in the front, or you can knit the ribbing flat and the stockinette flat. I went with just switching out my needle. It wasn't, for 2 centimeters of ribbing, it didn't feel like too much of like a slog to just to switch my needle out. It actually, in my brain, it was an easier way of doing it. And then I didn't have to like knit flat. I wasn't in the mood to knit flat when I was knitting this, until obviously I had to knit flat for the top. And then you finish flat and you make double knit straps. And it's really cute. The way that she does the decreases, I think, is so nice. They're clean, because it has that like edge and then the decreases. It's just gorgeous. It's a cute little, tiny little top. And I was a little bit worried about it being small when I cast it on. So I told my friend, I was like, hey, if it's too small, would you want this? And she was like, yes, absolutely. Like I said, it wasn't too small. It fits me, like I said, even a little bit bigger than I could have gone away with one size down like I originally was going to knit, but it's fine. But I'm really excited. It's super cute, and I think it's going to be a great addition to my summer wardrobe. But yeah, I think I knit this on, so you knit the ribbing on 3mm, and then you knit the stockinette on 4mm needles. So wasn't too bad. I really enjoyed it. I finally just I bit the bullet and added 3mm needles to my collection, because I don't actually have 3mm needles for my interchangeables. So I now have them. It's nice. Alrighty. That is it for my finished objects. Like I said, 2 things that you guys would have already seen, or no, 2 things you did not get to see, so the socks and the top, and then 1 that I had finished. I'm really happy with all of them. I think they're awesome projects. All right, so now on to works in progress. So I have 2 works in progress. Oh, kind of 3, I would say. 1 is a very long-term project. I'm knitting a blanket for my friend. It was supposed to be her wedding gift. She got married in February. It hibernated for quite a bit, and then I decided to pick it up again recently, and it's going. I'm making more progress on it again, but it's the throw size, so it's a big blanket. And it's the heart-to-heart blanket. So it has knits and purls to create like a heart motif along it. So it's taking its time. It's a long-term whip. It's not hibernating anymore right now, but I'm making progress. Then I have this other work in progress, which is a kit club. So when I first started knitting, I signed up for an Annie's Kit Club, I think is what it is. And it's the Irish Fields Afghan something blanket. Dublin Afghan something or another. So it's this pattern. And so I have almost all of the kits. like all of the squares. So you get it each month, you get a square. And then, so this is like what it is. So each month you get one section and you're supposed to knit it up. And I have knit one. This is block 2. So I have decided that I just need to start knitting it up. It is acrylic yarn, which is not my preferred. I don't love it. I don't like the feel of it very much, but I have it. I'm gonna knit it, and I like the blanket itself. So, and it's really cool. So the concept is really cool because each block has different stitches and different like patterns and stuff within it. So I'll just show you with the block that I'm almost done with. So block 2. So like, for instance, this is block 2. So it had, you start with like this cabled one, and then you do this, I think it's called mistake rib, and then you do this like textured bobbly pattern, which I messed up. Oopsies. And then you did this like, this textured pattern one, and then this like twisted, kind of almost mock cabled one, and then you seam them all together and you do like a little border, and then at the end you'll seam all the blocks together. So it's a really awesome like concept, and it's a great way to learn different stitches and things that I might not have like touched previously or ever really had the opportunity to knit. And so I really like it for that concept. However, like I said, it's acrylic yarn. I don't love it, so it's hard for me to like kind of pick it up, but it's also a good way for me to kind of get like a quick win. Like when I'm just like, I just want to have that like dopamine hit of finishing something like this. These little squares are so quick to knit up, and I get that little dopamine hit. So I'm almost done with the second block. I have to do the border on these 2 sides, and then I'll be done with that block. So that's also a finished object that I'm working on. And then I have a garment not a finished object, a work in progress. And then I have a garment work in progress, and that is my super basic tee. So let me grab that. All right, my super basic tee. Let me give you the specs and then I'll talk about it. So I'm doing super basic tee by Owada Knit, and I'm knitting it in the Sorella. Oh, I don't have my needles on, stoppers on. It's fine, I'll just be gentle. So I'm knitting it in Sorella's yarn, silk sock yarn in the colorway Daunt Books. I have 3 skeins of it, so I'm alternating. Oh no, I did drop a stitch. Ah! No! Get back here. Oh no. Okay, it's fine, I'll fix that later. So I'm knitting the 3 skeins with it. So I alternated in the body. I wasn't doing helical knitting, and I wish I had looked up helical knitting before I did this, because that's so much easier than what I was doing. Well, I guess I couldn't do helical knitting when I was doing it in flat. So you essentially, you start by knitting the back panel, and then you pick up for the front panel and you knit all of that flat until you pick up like left side, right side, shoulder, and then you join the collar in the round, and then you knit flat until you join under the armholes. So as you can see, I did not switch skeins for this sleeve, and I'm not doing it for this sleeve either. I was using just 1 skein, and obviously this one had some very clear striping and variation in the skein. I'm at this point where this project has felt like a slog. So it's knit on, I'm using 3.5 millimeter needles, and it's a 29 stitch by 36 row per 4-inch gauge. So it's like, it has felt like the longest knit. I cast it on April 26th. So I've been knitting this for a month at this point, and this is where I'm at. I picked up for the collar. The collar is double folded, or a folded collar. So obviously you knit and then you sew it down, which that was a journey. Like sewing it down, I was like, this is a pain in the butt. And then you knit for the sleeves, it's also like a sewn down stockinette sleeve edge, and I think the hem is the same way. And then on the 16th of May, so 10 days ago, I knit the entire second sleeve until I had to go down the needle size for the hem of the sleeve, and I realized I knit it all on the wrong needle. I knit it on a needle larger than what I needed. So on the 16th of May, I had to unravel the entire sleeve that I had knit, and I was like, you're going in the naughty corner, like you're gonna go in timeout for a little bit. I don't have the energy to pick you back up and try again. It's not working right now. So and it was in that time that I started and finished the Vera top. So I finished the Vera top. I did some of the kit, the blanket. I did some of my friend's blanket. And then I was like, okay, I think last night I was like, I think I can finally pick this up again and try to finish this knit. So I did, and I've done a couple of the decreases on the sleeve. And once I finish the sleeve, I think the body will fly by a lot quicker. I'll be able to finish it. I am doing the size large. It looks like it's going to be massive. I think it is supposed to fit like a little bit of an oversize. I think it's going to be almost too oversized, and maybe I should have gone down a size. We'll see. But yeah, I'll be excited once I finally finish this. I bought this yarn probably a year ago now, and it's just been sitting in my stash. So in my effort to stash bust, I am trying to get her done. But I like the color a lot. I think it's gorgeous. It's such a nice yarn too, so it'll get used. It's just this knit itself is a slog. It literally, like, I'm knitting on it and I'm like, I don't want to be doing this right now. Like every time I pick it up to knit, or if I'm like going into a long knitting session with it, I'm like, this is taking forever. I have like zero desire to be doing this, but I want the project. So it's definitely a project knit and not a process knit for me. Like I want the finished object. I'm not enjoying the process. So I think that's all of my works in progress for now. So we're going to dive into a little bit of acquisitions. I'm not really going to talk too much about like current plans, more of like why I acquired the things I acquired. So my first acquisition is some sock yarn from a local dyer. It was his first time doing a pop-up and selling yarn. So this is Orion Dye Works, and this color is Starry Night. So I got it in his sock base, which is Canis Major. And it is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon with 463 yards per 100 grams. And it is sock-based yarn, so super awesome. And my plan for this is to knit my dad a pair of socks for Father's Day. So those will be cast on very soon. I think he'll like them quite a bit. And also the colors in this colorway are beautiful. Like it is literally Starry Night. Like he killed it with the dyeing, in my opinion. So that was the first acquisition. And then I did a Wool & Co. order. So I had an entire 150 gram skein left over from my fiance's Lakes sweater, or Lakes cardigan. So I decided I wanted to knit myself a vest number 8 with that yarn because I think it's gorgeous and I love the color. So I did an order from Wool & Co. of another 150 gram skein, which thank goodness they were able to get this in the same dye lot because I had originally purchased it from Wool & Co. And then a 50 gram, right? This is a 50 gram? A 50 gram skein to just kind of round it out. Unfortunately, this is in a different dye lot and it's kind of obviously a different dye lot. So we'll see. This probably will be like button band if I can. We'll see what happens. So that is going to be a vest number 8. And then I picked up 3 balls of Camarose Sneffnog in their black colorway. I told a coworker that I would make her a scarf. I didn't do it in time for last winter, but I will have it done for the upcoming winter. She lives in Tennessee, so she does get colder. She gets use of her scarves. So I picked up the yarn for that, and I'm just gonna do like I did for my other friends, just like a basic, like oversized Sophie scarf. So the Sophie scarf, but just modified it to make it bigger like I did for the other ones. And then the other acquisition from that Wool & Co order is 4 skeins of the Cascade Yarns Noble Cotton. So another one of my coworkers who lives in Savannah is pregnant with her first little one, due in October. So I'm going to make her a cute little baby blanket, I decided. And I wanted to do something that kind of gave like October vibes, colors wise, but not very like Halloween coded, you know, like it's a spooky baby, but like I didn't want it to be like orange and black. So I went with more of like a kind of muted palette. I don't know if the gray really goes well. My original intention was to do, I think, these 3 as the main bits and then do the green as an accent. But now I'm thinking I might do these 3, I might do these 3 as the main blanket and then gray as like an accent piece. We'll see. But that the baby is due in October, so I have a little bit of time to do this. I don't really know specifically what pattern I want to do yet. I think I'm going to do a drops blanket pattern. I found one that I liked, so we will see. And then another acquisition is a lot of sock yarn. So I'm not going to give too much detail about that acquisition, but I ordered 2 of the Sorella like Oopsie one of a kind bundles of their sock yarn, and then enough mini skeins, so that's 8 sock skeins, and then 8 mini skeins to go with it to make my own little sock bundles, because I am knitting my girlfriends going on my bachelorette trip, each of them a pair of socks. So those, and I'm doing a whole vlog for that, a whole like knitting bachelorette party socks project vlog. So if you want to see those colors, that will be within that one. I might do it more as a series, or I might do just one whole vlog. We'll see what happens. But I did acquire those. So those have arrived, and I have paired up the mini skeins with the yarn. So super excited about that one. So that's why I said I have a lot of socks in my future when it comes to knitting through October. Really, I have a lot of loose plans, all that kind of stuff. I did, like I said, I talked more fully about like summer knits in my follow-up to my previous video, which will come out after this podcast, and that has a lot more details about what I'm hoping to knit for garment-wise for the summer. These socks and like the blanket and that kind of stuff, those plans are a bit more adjacent to my garment knitting. We'll see how it goes. But that's all I have for you guys today on the knitting front. Please feel free to stick around if you want to hear just a little bit about kind of other stuff that's going on. But if not, thank you so much for watching, and I hope if you enjoyed my content, you would like or subscribe, and please let me know in the comments, what are your plans, and have you come up with any really fun things? Are you making any gifts for friends, family, coworkers? Let me know. Oh, and socks. What are some of your favorite sock patterns? Because I am probably just gonna make some basic socks, but I feel like I might also get a little bit like squirrely and want to try different types. So let me know as I journey into the sock universe. Thanks for watching, and stick around if you want to hear a little bit about life in media and all that fun stuff. Okay, so Media-wise, I have finished all of The Real Housewives of Orange County. I have done it. I have watched all 19 seasons, and I am ready for season 20, which comes out in July. Super excited about that one. I love Shannon. Shannon is my girl. I think she is just so kooky and quirky and fun, and I like that about her. And I think she's been done dirty by a lot of men in her life, so she deserves someone who loves her. But I love that she's like, right now she's just living her life, like dating, having fun, all of that kind of stuff. Also, R.I.P. Archie. Archie was such a good boy. He was a beautiful bub. Otherwise, caught up on Summer House. I watched the first episode of In the City. And, James and I finished Mad Men. I gave it about probably a 6 or 7 out of 10 on the rating scale and a lot of that was because of like the costuming, the cinematography, the set design, all of that kind of stuff. It really felt like I was like watching a show from that time period. Super awesome in that sense. The actual storyline itself, like I'm a very character-driven person. When I read books and that kind of stuff, I get invested in stories if I like the characters. I didn't think there was very many like redeeming characters in Mad Men. None of the relationships were good. Majority of the characters were all kind of not good people. So I didn't really like connect in that way to the show, but I really liked the costuming and the set design. Thought that was really awesome. And then we also binged this weekend. It was a long weekend. We binged the Game of Thrones show, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. That was really cute. I really enjoyed that. I love like a tangent. I love a story with no like true stakes. Like there's no war happening at the time. Like it was just very like almost like low stakes. This guy like bumbling through becoming a knight and like succeeding. So thought that was really good too. And reading wise, I finally finished Mate by Ali Hazelwood. I liked Bride better, I will say. I didn't dislike Mate, but I think Bride was a better book out of the two. I don't know if she has another one coming out. I'm so removed from the book space right now. I started Soul Searching by Lila Sage as my physical nighttime read. And I'm still, I finished, audiobook-wise, I finished, what book was I listening to? Oh, Cat Whisker. Fun. This whisker is all wonky. Anyways, I was listening to We Solve Murders. I thought it was pretty good. It was a nice little read. And I'm finishing Nanny's Handbook to Magic and Mayhem or something like that. Or maybe I finished it. I don't remember. And now I'm listening to another graphic audio. I started Avalon Tower by C.N. Crawford and Alex Rivers, I think. Very good. Like, this is a book that I've been wanting and needing, and it's a graphic audio, which I love. It's about Fae, Knights of the Round Table, Camelot, King Arthur, like an alternate America or alternate reality where the Fae like exist, like they coexist within and like we know about that. It's good. Highly recommend it. So that's what I'm listening to, and then watching. Like I said, I finished all this Housewives. I'm caught up on all of the current seasons, so like Rhode Island, Beverly Hills, because they finished that. I had caught up on Potomac. I think I have Atlanta I need to catch up on this current season. And I'm watching Ladies of London from the start because I know that they rebooted that. So that's what's going on media-wise in my life. But yeah, just having a good time. We're looking for a photographer for our wedding right now. So I think we're going to be talking to someone. I reached out to a couple via The Knot, couple different photographers. I think we're talking to someone this weekend that is pretty promising for us. And then bachelorette wise, I booked my Airbnb for the bachelorette trip. I'm probably gonna book my ticket soon and just like let my girlfriends know whenever you're able to, but this is what I booked. And then if they don't want to do Thursday through Monday, if they'd rather do Thursday through Sunday, I can just stay in a hotel on my own. But like I don't want to, like I want to leave on a Monday, I decided. So that is kind of what's going on in my life. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if there's anything that you want to ask, please do so in the comments. I don't know, I'm really bad at the outros. So thank you guys so much for joining me in this podcast episode, and we will see what the next one looks like, what I finish and what I'm working on, and if I get a little bit of cast-on-itis once again. So thanks so much, guys.